Hey everybody, it's Stephanie, and I want to go over proper driving posture because it's more important than you may know. We're RVers, so we can drive some seriously long days, and if we're not careful, if our posture is even just a titch off, it can lead to things like us being more fatigued, inflammation, aches, pains, and even actual injuries. So, I have busted it up into 5 basic adjustments you want to make on your seat. Don't stress about absorbing everything I'm about to throw at you because I've got a checklist over on the Fit RV website. I will have a link in the YouTube description. Click on it. You can go get the checklist. You can leave me comments. You can tell me how adjusting your seat changed your life. All of that. So, the big thing that you need to know is that driving posture is all about 3 things. It's about protecting your joints, protecting your circulation, and protecting yourself in the event of an accident. And everything I'm about to share with you involves those 3 things. As for joints, what I'm talking about there is we want to keep our joints as close to neutral as we can get, because when we are closed up in a joint, that means our circulation isn't going to be as well, and that's more strenuous and taxing on the joint itself. So we're going to try to get you close to neutral. I'm going to go over it all, so let's jump right into adjustment number 1. Step 1 is adjusting your distance to the pedals. So you want to be forward enough that you can keep your heel down when you're depressing either of the pedals. But you don't want to sit too near the steering wheel because if you do, your seatbelt might not have time to react in the event of an accident. You also want to make sure there's enough space for your airbag to deploy. You also want to make sure your knees are bent around 120 degrees because anything less than that is going to decrease the circulation in your legs. Step 2 has to do with your bottom seat cushion adjustments. So first off, you want to make sure that your hips are either in line with your knees or higher than your knees, because that has to do with your hips being a little more open and closer to neutral. That'll help your circulation, having your hips a little higher or in line. You don't want your knees up too much. And in Lance, we have adjustments for that right here, but if your seat doesn't have adjustments, there are some wedge cushions you can buy, and I'll make sure I have a link over on the Fit RV so you can see what I'm talking about there. Also, you want to make sure that there's equal pressure on the back of your thigh when you're in your bottom seat cushion. You don't want to have your circulation cut off towards your knee, which can happen if you don't have the 2-finger gap. And the 2-finger gap is when you take 2 fingers and you put them in the back of your knee. You should have that space between your knee and the seat so that you're not cutting off circulation in the back of your knee. Step 3 is all about adjusting your backrest. So you want the backrest reclined at about 100 to 110 degree angle. This is going to decrease any pressure on your spine, plus it's going to open up your hip and allow you to have better circulation. You don't want to recline it too far though, because that's going to put strain on your neck. You want to make sure you're adjusting the lumbar support too, so you feel even pressure all along your spine. So you don't want to feel more pressure up in the top of your back because then your lumbar spine isn't going to be supported. So if you don't have lumbar adjustments on your RV seat, then you can buy a lumbar cushion. And again, I'll put a link to something like that in the description so you can see what I'm talking about. Step 4 is all about steering wheel adjustments. You want to make sure you adjust the steering wheel down and towards you, and that's going to lessen the strain on your shoulders. Now, in our RV, I can only telescope. I don't have the ability to tilt, so I'm going to do what I can to get the steering wheel towards me so my shoulders are back against the seat rest. Now, if you're like me, you were probably taught 10 and 2 is best hand placement, but actually, as far as your shoulders go, it's a lot better to hold on at 9 and 3 or even lower, 8 and 4, if you can do so safely. That's going to take a lot of the strain out of your shoulders. You also want to be able to turn the steering wheel and be able to keep your shoulders down if you can. That's going to be less straining on your spine if your shoulders can stay back against the seat rest. Also, you want to make sure you're kind of symmetrical. So if one hand is here, you want the other hand right across from it. That's going to be a lot better on your spine. It'll keep you from tweaking yourself. If you're driving with one hand up top, your spine is a little twisted. And if you do that for a long time, that's a lot of strain on your spine. So 9 and 3 or a little lower. Make sure you get that steering wheel towards you and down. And the 5th adjustment is your headrest. And this one is easily neglected, but it's an important one for safety. So you want to make sure you have it adjusted so the top of the headrest comes between the top of your head and the top of your ears. And so when your back is against the backrest, you want to make sure your head is resting there comfortably on the seat rest. So when you're driving along, do try to use the headrest sometimes too. It does take some of the strain off of your neck. So do try to pull yourself all the way back, use that headrest. And finally, there's a few common sense things you want to do, like don't sit on your wallet. That's going to knock your spine into a kind of cattywampus position, so take your wallet out. Take frequent driving breaks. That's going to help you keep your circulation up. Switch drivers if you have somebody else who can drive in the vehicle. Because in the end, you want to get to your destination and you want to be ready for your trip. You want to feel like doing stuff, right? Anyway, hope this helps. Happy driving, happy RVing, everybody.